We shared studios with Paul Harvey.
Oh my God, that'd be awesome.
When I first came there, we didn't have a studio. Alan Shaw had just put together the FM division, and we were working out of Paul Harvey's production studio. So when Paul wasn't there, that became our air studio. So we actually shared physical space with Paul Harvey. I mean, there was no doors to his office. He sat in desks next to us. So we got to know him very well. And what an amazing opportunity that was.
Oh, man, that's like...
On KDOO in Tulsa, Oklahoma, at the age of 14, I was encouraged once in a while to overhear somebody say, "Hey, that Paul Harvey sounds pretty good for his age." Recently, I've had mixed feelings when I overhear the same thing.
You don't want to talk about product work ethic. Paul Harvey used to come into the office, 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. He had a favorite newsstand in Chicago where he would stop and he would buy a whole bunch of newspapers. He would come with a stack of newspapers and set them out on his desk. And then he had a little pocket X-Acto knife. It was shaped like a nice pen, had a knife in it. And he would read these pieces of paper and he'd take his X-Acto knife and he'd go, take that little news article, set it on a pile. And then after he had all these little pieces of paper, he'd throw away the newspapers and he'd take the old yellow newsprint. Remember the teletype machines used to have yellow newsprint. He'd take a sheet of newsprint, roll it up in that old Royal typewriter, and he would type at the top, who, what, where, when, and why. The 5 W's, who, what, where, when, and why.
He would literally type that at the top?
He would type that at the top.
Wow.
And then he'd take that story and he'd read it, and then the fingers would start to go, and every story had the who, what, where, when, and why.
Oh my God, that would be priceless.
One of the coolest things, Pat.
Yeah.
Remember, this is the early days of coast-to-coast transmission. Now, from Chicago, that signal went to New York. And then it went around through telephone lines out to California, down through Texas to Florida, and back to New York, and then to Chicago. And Paul Harvey had it installed on his console that there was a little switch that the engineer could flip. And all it proved was that the circuit was complete. So Paul would start to talk. "Hello, Americans, this is Paul Harvey." And the engineer would flip the switch, and about a second later, you'd hear, "Hello, Americans, this is Paul Harvey." And then you knew that the circuit was complete coast to coast. Very cool.
Wow, what an awesome, yeah. Wait, was he a nice guy? Was he, I assume he would be, yeah.
Just a sweetheart. I mean, whenever I would come in, it was like, "Come on in, Jim, sit and talk." It was, he was not aloof at all. I mean, there was nothing. Yeah, and he had great loyalty. His engineer, when I was there, had worked with him 20 some odd years, and they were just good people.
He was not only an amazing talent, the way he would deliver stuff, one of a kind, but man, he was a great writer too.
Yeah.
With now the rest of the story and those things. I mean, wow, incredible.
There was a football game about 5 years ago, the Super Bowl, where Dodge Motor Company had taken one of Paul Harvey's early speeches to the farmers, and they edited it down into a 90-second television commercial. So it's called "So God Made a Farmer."
And on the 8th day, God looked down on his planned paradise and said, "I need a caretaker." So God made a farmer. God said, "I need somebody willing to get up before dawn, milk cows, work all day in the fields, milk cows again, eat supper, then go to town and stay past midnight at a meeting of the school board." So God made a farmer. God said, "I need somebody willing to sit up all night with a newborn colt and watch it die, then dry his eyes and say, maybe next year." I need somebody who can shape an axe handle from a persimmon sprout, shoe a horse with a hunk of car tire, who can make harness out of hay, wire, feed sacks, and shoe scraps, who planting time and harvest season will finish his 40-hour week by Tuesday noon, and then pain in from tractor back put in another 72 hours. So God made a farmer. God said, I need somebody strong enough to clear trees and heave bales, yet gentle enough to yean lambs and wean pigs and tend the pink-combed pullets, who will stop his mower for an hour to splint the broken leg of a meadowlark. So God made a farmer. It had to be somebody who'd plow deep and straight and not cut corners, somebody to seed, weed, feed, breed, and rake and disc and plow and plant and tie the fleece and strain the milk, somebody who'd bale a family together with the soft, strong bonds of sharing, who would laugh and then sigh and then reply with smiling eyes when his son says that he wants to spend his life doing what Dad does. So God made a farmer.
He tugged at your heartstrings every day with just great finesse. What a wonderful broadcaster.